700 naira. It depends on what the price of gas dollar is. Now, when Dangote Refinery comes on board, that price may drop to about, it may reduce to the tune of between 10 to 15%. So if you're paying 700 naira now, say the true market value of PMS today is 700 naira. When the Dangote Refinery comes on board, that will just reduce to about 600, because you are going to take out the freight cost, cost of transportation and all of that, and refining costs, because it's being refined in Nigeria. Because that price itself of after it's been refined in, after it's been refined in the Netherlands, because we bring our crude oil, our gasoline products from the Netherlands, from Belgium, and from Spain. So when it comes down here, you still have additional 30%, transportation and all of that, and then they will add their own cost of about 10%. I have the templates, the calculation of how much it will cost and everything. Like, I have the templates and I can do calculations, global prices, what it should be selling here and there, and this and that. There's a lot of economic implications and economic benefits of removing the subsidy, but we are not going to be insensitive to the pains. No pain, no gain. We cannot be subsidizing everything in Nigeria for the most part, and we want Nigeria to grow and or develop. We say there are no jobs. We say there are no good infrastructure. We say there are no, there's insecurity. There are a lot of things going on. Yes, but we need money. We need to generate revenue. We need money to fix all of these things. And it's a joint effort. It's all of us that have to do this thing together. I see people writing, is budgeted till June 30th, is budgeted in June 30th. Daddy Freeze, do you know, contrary to public opinion, Daddy Freeze, do you know subsidy should have been removed since February 17th? February 17th is when this subsidy should have been removed. But there was an election anyway. Because the Petroleum Industry Act was signed in August of 2021. And the Petroleum Industry Act...
About this, I have a super chat on YouTube. And the super chat is from Margaret Ojo. Margaret Ojo has set the pace. So if you want a super chat, you can super chat for less than £10. So she set up with £10, and when you buy a question, we have to answer it. Margaret Ojo says, how has the removal of 50% subsidy resulted in almost 200% increase at the pumps? Fuel was about 145 Naira. Shouldn't the price return to the full, say, 300 Naira? How come prices are 500 Naira plus at the pumps? Once again, big shout out to Margaret Ojo, who asked this question via Super Chat on YouTube. You can ask your questions via Super Chat on YouTube, via stars on Facebook, or via Money Guns on TikTok. So what do you have to say to Margaret?
Okay, Margaret Uju, thank you. That was a very good question. And I'm happy that we can ask this kind of questions without any form of animosity. We just want growth and development. So here goes this. Margaret Uju, do you know that the price, the actual price for a liter, right now, because the barrel of oil is about $73.5. So by the template and the dollar at 463 Naira to a liter, we should be paying about 500 to 550. So the federal government has been the one.
It is 145. And by the way, her name is Margaret Ojo, not Uju.
Sorry, Margaret Ojo. I'm sorry, Margaret Ojo. Apologies.
She's saying if it were to its normal price.
There's no normal price, Daddy Freeze. Daddy Freeze, that I'm trying to tell Margaret Ojo, that price you are seeing is a subsidized price. The actual price of PMS today, because of the cost of a barrel of crude oil, actual price of a barrel of crude oil is about $500, 500 Naira to a liter. And actually, what's it called? The NNPC actually set it correctly. Like they remove by saying it's about 530 something, 520 something. That is the actual price. the federal government is paying about 300 Naira per liter. That is what is called the subsidy. And that was why when it was removed, the subsidy was removed, or subsidy is unofficially removed, the price is now going up, or has gone up to where it is supposed to be. Because my sister, okay, let's do this way. For every barrel of crude oil, when you do the template, 70% of the cost, about 60 to 70% of the cost is coming from the actual price of a barrel of crude oil. The barrel of crude oil, the actual price that goes into that liter, when you do the calculations, is about 60 to 70%. And then you have what you call the refining cost. You have what you call the excise duties, the taxes that are paid on it. And then you have what is called the transportation cost. And then they want to make their profit also. So I've got like four different intricacies in there. And when you do that particular math, everything sums up to about 500 because also the value of the Naira to a dollar comes in. Today, according to the CBN, $1 is 463 Naira. Look at Benin Republic for is it no? I think it's Niger. I think it's Niger or Chad. In Niger, they are paying about $1.1 to a liter. $1.1 to a liter. And at 463, my math tells me that 463 times 1.1 is what? That is 507. 507. So that is the amount. 507 is the amount you're supposed to be paying. Around that range. So now government is now paying that 300. So government now saying that we're actually borrowing to even cover up that 300. By actually borrowing to pay that 300. So government saying we cannot borrow anymore. That the freeze, we are owing about 103 billion US dollars. Both domestic and international loans today as we are speaking. Now, when we see those loans encompasses states and federal governments, not just federal government alone. States also are also included in this metric. So federal government is saying the stress is too much on us. We can't even do it anymore. We can't even make money to pay anymore because 96% of all the money we are making as revenue, we are using it to service debt, to service loan. And we all are here always complaining also that the government is what's it called? Someone said, hold on, I'm sorry. Cost of petrol in global petrol prices today is 0.5 cents, 55 cents. That's not true. A gallon is $2.4 right now as I'm speaking with you. So if you divide that by 3.785, because 3.785 liters makes 1 gallon. That is about 0.7 or something like that. I don't want to really go into calculations and intricacies and all of that. So my sister Margaret Ojo, that is the reason why. That is the reason why the government has been subsidizing it for us, because the actual price globally, and people are making that face. I want to also correct an impression here. Just because we have oil doesn't mean that our oil price should be low. Crude oil is a globally traded commodity. Crude oil, I repeat again, is a globally traded commodity, and as such, it is valued or priced in dollars. So that is why Dangote, like you said that if it's Dangote is privately owned, Dangote is going to be buying the crude oil, and federal government has said we're going to give you 300,000 barrels. Dangote's refinery's capacity is 650,000 barrels per day. So if Dangote is saying I want to run at full capacity, Dangote also has to go and import now. Dangote is going to import from other countries if he wants to run at 100% capacity. So are you telling me that Dangote is running a humanitarian, is a capitalist? Dangote is a core capitalist. He's a core capitalist, and as such, is going to charge, because also it's a private company. Federal government owes 20%. Federal government too is a shareholder. They will sit down and say, where's our 20%? We are giving you 300,000 barrels per day. You have to pay us for that. Global prices. Now we can begin to have another conversation and say, should we be doing it, pricing it in Naira? Should we be buying it internally in Naira? That is a different conversation entirely. For crude oil, for also natural gas also, because we use natural gas to, what's it called, for our turbines, for electricity. And for thermal production of electricity, I think it's about 80% or something that we use the gas-driven turbines. And then hydro is about 15 to 20%. And we don't have renewables yet. So I think that answers that particular question.
All right. Big shout out to Margaret. Margaret on YouTube says, okay, so the subsidy was just on the actual cost of oil, not the gross price, which includes administration and refinery costs.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
She said, okay, so the subsidy was just on the actual cost of the oil, not the gross price, which includes administration and refinery costs.
No, the PMS itself is no longer a commodity anymore. It's already been refined. It's now a good. So now the REIT is a retail good, like it's consumption. We are consuming it. So the subsidy is being paid for consumption, which we have to stop, because if you want to pay subsidy, you should pay subsidy and channel it towards production. For example, the rice, the Anchor Borrowers Program, where the federal government was subsidizing fertilizer, where the federal government was subsidizing the seeds for rice. So that is the way to subsidize. That is the right way to subsidize, not subsidizing the end product, consumption. So my sister, that subsidy and everything, I just broke down the cost to arrive at that final good. So it's that final good that the government is subsidizing. So that is supposed to be sold because of the value of the Naira to the dollar or dollar to the Naira. It's supposed to be at about, dollar, it's supposed to be about 500, 520, 510. That's the actual price. That's the actual price. When you put everything together, there are the cost, benefit. And that was why, if you look at it, the oil market has immediately started selling averagely at 500, 600, 700. And also, before then, we've heard that in the southeastern region, in the south-southern region, and in the north-central regions, in places outside of Lagos, before subsidy, before these announcements and all of that, they've been selling at 300, 400 Naira per liter. Now, because they are going to add their own additional transportation costs on the road, they are also going to add those actors that it frees, the actors in quotes. You know who are the actors? Our people that wear black and blue on the road. Give me something.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to, because we are trying to clean our image. So those ones are on the road, and they'll say, okay, as you are passing, give us something. You have to add that one as part of the cost. Also as a businessman. So when it gets to the end point, then the now increase it and all of that, and then you have to pay 300, 400. So I'm thinking that, looking at the trend, eventually when subsidy is removed and everything, we may see in those regions that it might be up by additional 200. So if it's trading in Lagos at, let's say, 500 or 550, then in southeast, in south-south, in the north central, it might be trading for 700, 800. That is where the market forces begin to come into play.
Now, I want to ask a question. And the basis of this question is a very simple fact. And the fact is that we need more ports in Nigeria. What do you think the Tinubu administration, because because if transportation from Lagos is such an issue, why can't we have a port in Rivers, a port in where else along the Niger, somewhere at least servicing the northern states, and definitely a port in the east or close to the east, through which not only PMS or petroleum products can be moved, but also cars and other imported commodities. Before you answer that, big shout out to everybody who's watching. If you want to ask a question on YouTube, you have to do so by Super Chat. And Margaret has set the benchmark, so it is £10 or its equivalent in Naira or dollars. Please, this is just to support the channel, and also to appreciate the plenty work we're doing here. If you're watching on TikTok, remember to send those money guns. Big shout out to Babaito. He sent me 1 money gun. Remember to follow my top gifters and double click the screen if you're enjoying this. It's not easy to bring a chairman like Bongolee. If you're enjoying this, double click the screen. Double click the screen. I have 8,400 likes. Let's see how we can move that to about 20,000 likes now. So double click the screen. Double click the screen if you want TikTok. Big on TikTok. Remember to buy my money guns. I'll be giving a special shout out to everyone who's giving me gifts and buying my money guns. Also share the video. People need this very vital information. If you're watching on Instagram, go to Facebook, search for Daddy Freeze, DADDYFREEZE. Scroll down to today's video, click on the video, you will see how to buy stars. So once again, go to Facebook, search for Daddy Freeze, click on today's video. Once the video pops up, scroll down, you will see how to buy stars. If you want to ask your questions on Facebook, just buy 1,000 stars and put your question there. Same thing with TikTok, and it's Super Chat. I'm only going to be reading comments across platforms if they are on Super Chat, stars, or with money guns, or if they come from my #1 gifter. Let me make it fair. So over to you, Bongolee. What are your thoughts?
Thank you very much for this question. But before I answer that question, I want to go back to the oil subsidy thing. Guys, as they have removed subsidy, if tomorrow the barrel of crude oil drops to about $40 or $35, expect that price to half also, or reduce by 30–40%. So that 520 Naira you are paying today, or that we are paying today, if the price goes down, then it's going to be like maybe 300 and something Naira. Now, if it goes higher than that, you may be paying for 1,000 or 2,000. It depends. Because right now, the global commodity prices are actually dropping right now. But because of man seeing humanity to man in Nigeria, what goes up never comes down.
Absolutely. Word.
So now let's now go back to the port conversation. That if it's shockingly, a lot of us do not realize that Nigeria actually has I think I was about 5 federal ports, 5 federal seaports. We have 2 in Lagos, Apapa, Tinkan. We have 1 in Warri. We have 1 in One, in Port Harcourt, or in Rivers State. And then we also have 1 in Calabar. Sometime last year, one of the largest vessels berthed in Calabar seaports. Daddy Freeze, we make about, I think it's, is it 300 and something thousand metric tons of cocoa? Where do we export the cocoa from? Cocoa is majorly produced in Ogun, Ekiti, Oyo, Osun, Ondo, Delta, Edo states, Calabar, and Cross River states, and Akwa Ibom. Where are they exporting those things out from? The crude oil that we, yeah, they have 2 ports in River State, yes, One and Port Harcourt port. The 2, what's it called? The 2,
are these ports?
Tariff freeze. That's what I'm trying to explain. Tariff freeze. They are when we drill for oil. Well, how are they transported? What ports are they transported from? They are transported from somewhere, sir. Now, Lagos State, in fact, has said, you know what? Because we don't have deep sea ports. Because when you talk about deep sea port, it's like you can berth much larger vessels, and that's why I talk about dredging when it comes to ports. So you can have those large vessels come down to shore and anchor. Now, in Lagos State, for example, the current president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria envisioned the Lekki Free Trade Zone, envisioned the port in Lagos State. And then there's also going to be another deep sea port in Badagry. So that is something that the federal government has done their own. We already have like 5, 6 federal ports and seaports. State government should also come in and play their own role. Now, let me talk about the Southeast. That if it's contrary to public opinion, the Southeast has 2 river ports, not seaports, because the Southeast is landlocked. And because it is landlocked, you cannot have sea. There is no sea in the Southeast. You only have rivers. And in the Southeast, we have 2 river ports. We have the Onitsha River Port, and we have the Ogurugu Uzuawani River Port in Enugu State. The one in Onitsha has been concessioned. I think I've forgotten how much it was concessioned for, and it says it's going to make about 23 billion Naira in the next couple of years. So the question is, what are the people doing? What are the governments in those areas doing to revamp that place? Now, the federal government has come in and is saying, hey, let us, let us concession it. In fact, I think last month or 2 months back, there was a big activity that happened in Imo State, a dredging activity in Imo State by Governor Hopu Zodima, where the VP, former VP was there, and a lot of dignitaries were there. Oni was even there. So there are activities going on there. And that refers also, we have the dry ports. We have dry ports in Oyo State. We have dry ports in Kano State. We have dry ports in Kaduna State. That is free. From Lagos, for example, to Borno, because there's a lot of commerce going on in Borno. Borno is a commerce city. It's about 1,590 kilometers. From Lagos to Onitsha is about 400 kilometers. From Lagos to Aba is about 600 kilometers. Now, from Onne Port to Aba is about 200 kilometers. Now, from Onne to Onitsha is about 400 kilometers. What are the state governments doing in those areas? Now, if you look at the trade routes, for example, where vessels are berthing from Europe and the Americas, you go through the Atlantic Ocean. Because 1 mile is equal to 1.15 nautical miles. Nautical is what you use on water. And the person that is saying all lies, oh, I'm going to respond to this particular person. All lies, oh, I want you to go on Google Map and check everything that I've said and tell me if I'm wrong. And if I am wrong, then I will never be under the freeze life with all of those numbers I called. But if I am right, I keep my statement. If I'm right, I keep my statement. I won't say anything to you. So back to what I was saying, that the freeze. 1 mile is equal to 1.15 nautical miles, because it's nautical miles. So you have to also look at the distance. You also have to look at the markets. You also have to look at the purchasing power parity of these areas. In Nigeria, for example, the Southwest has the highest purchasing power. The Southwest has the best logistics network that transcends across Nigeria.
Now,
what?
Sorry, before you go further, my #1 gifter on TikTok, Man in the Mirror, says, all oil-producing countries subsidize fossil fuels. The U.S. in 2021 subsidized by $20 billion. So all countries that produce oil are subsidizing fuel. So what is Nigeria's excuse? This is the comment from Man in the Mirror. Remember, if you want to ask a question on TikTok, you've got to buy my money gun or be my #1 gifter. On YouTube, remember to send me super chats, and on Facebook, 8 stars. So over to you, Bongolee. What are your thoughts?
I would like for the Man on the Mirror to tell me in what part of the upstream, midstream, and or downstream was that subsidy applied here in the US. Because to the best of my understanding, right now, the calculations are direct replica or in tandem with the current prices. So I want to ask Man in the Mirror again, please, can you tell me where that subsidy was applied? Was it applied to the direct consumers? Because that is the subsidy that we are paying in Nigeria, direct consumers. You said 20 billion, what's it called? USD. Where? That please, can you ask the person, where was it subsidized? Where? Where?
How and where was this subsidized? Man in the Mirror, I'm waiting for your response. While we are waiting, continue, Bongolee.
Yes. So when you look at what's it called? Because it's still talking about subsidy anyway. A lot of countries also, some countries also subsidize. Like if you look at the Middle Eastern countries, for example, they subsidize. Nigeria is also subsidizing. But what kind of governments are they running in the Middle East? Most of these countries that are subsidizing, for the most part, they run an authoritarian type of government. They don't run a democratic type of government, most of them. It's like one man, this is what I'm doing, like what we were doing before in Nigeria, or what we're currently doing. Remember, we had military rulers and they gave subsidies. The thing about subsidy is not a bad thing. But the thing is that you should not be subsidizing on consumption. You should be subsidizing on production, not consumption. And also, Nigeria is saying we don't have enough money to even subsidize anymore. That's the problem that it is. Nigerian government doesn't have enough. Nigeria ranks one of the lowest. Nigeria ranks one of the lowest when you look at our revenue to GDP ratio in the world, Daddy Freeze.
I've said that many times.
In the world, Daddy Freeze, our GDP is 440 billion US dollars. But our revenue to GDP ratio is about 5%, 4%, 5%. Daddy Freeze, over half of our budget we go and borrow, Daddy Freeze. So Nigeria doesn't have money. That's it, point blank period. We're about to get insolvent if we don't do anything. If we don't just say, you know what, plug all the leakages, stop. I know that we've not even talked about the Naira, what's it called, the Naira denomination or whatever it is.
To get to that.
Okay, because that also is also in tandem with this. Oh, somebody said, what's the difference, whether on consumption or on production? Oh, yes, sir. There's a major difference. There is a major difference when you talk about consumption and production, putting in subsidy. Imagine putting that if it's, look, I gave this analogy to somebody the other day, and Yarisi is selling rice at the freeze. Yeah, you go to Yarisi and go and buy rice, 100 Naira. That 100 Naira that Yarisi is selling the rice for, but you will not say, don't worry, you just give me 50 Naira. Federal government has given me 50 Naira. Now, what about the person that is making that rice? Imagine the federal government says, okay, for this rice you are making, the rice is 100 Naira that you are making, producing. So to ease and to make sure you have better production and all of that stuff, better yield, I will give you 50 Naira. By giving you 50 Naira, you will expand your business. You can employ more people to work on the rice farm. You can go into other productions, other associated productions and other associated type of businesses that will come out of that rice. That rice production, that is the difference between, because consumption is just like buying ice cream. Federal government saying, I will give you, if ice cream is 100 naira, I will pay 20 naira, you go and pay 80 naira. Compared to the production of the ice cream itself, saying, you know what, for you to buy your raw materials, I will give you 20% out of it. That one itself will ease off and you can expand your business, you can employ more people. That is the economic understanding of subsidy and removing subsidy. And I just use the ERC
factor.
And what's it called? The ERC rice factor. That's what I'm doing. So I'm still waiting on the guy that said $20 billion, the man in the mirror. Honestly, sir, hold on. I rephrase. Somebody said still doesn't change the fact that you go buy for 100 naira. That may not be true. Because now that rice, because the federal government is subsidizing, the production is lower. So if the production cost is lower, then the value to sell that rice may be lower. And ERC on the other hand also will buy it at a lower price and sell at a lower price. So at the end of it, that 100 naira, federal government are subsidized, remove 20 naira out of it. ERC may end up buying that rice at a lower amount. And by buying it at a lower amount, the person that is going to buy the rice will buy at a lower amount. So the federal government is subsidizing on production. That is what a lot of governments do for the most part. A lot of governments subsidize on production to enhance the economy, to what's it called, to stimulate the economy.
Absolutely. All right. Any questions? I'm going to give 5 minutes. Okay, he said, I did respond. They actually subsidize fossil fuel industries. But why can't we do the same? That's man in the mirror.
Man in the mirror, please read that thing again. I said, is it upstream, midstream, and or downstream? When I mean upstream means drilling. Midstream is transportation. Then downstream is refining. So I want to understand where they subsidize, because the Nigerian subsidy is on consumption. That is you putting gas into your car. That is the subsidy that we are talking about here. Because the oil business in America, for example, is privately owned and run. America doesn't have like an American company. This is the American company that is running gas. I'm sorry, gasoline and all of that stuff, energy and all of that. They have agencies that are like watchdogs. So, Mama said the U.S. mostly subsidized upstream. So drilling. So thank you very much, Mama Tuzi. So if it's drilling, for example, the what's it called, the upstream aspect, like that is it not the same thing I'm saying about you subsidizing production? Is drilling not part of production?
Absolutely.
You subsidize that, and Nigeria self, our revenue is not up to $20 billion self annually. So where do you want to get the money from to subsidize? I'm telling you that our subsidy, we are borrowing $10 billion US annually to subsidize for consumption.
It's worrying.
So that is where we find that's where we find ourselves as a nation today. That's the harsh reality. Someone said the US also has welfare programs. Do you people understand when I say Nigeria doesn't have money? We have 200 million people. 133 million people are poor. We are multidimensionally poor. Where is the money? Do you know that a lot of states in Nigeria cannot even afford to pay the 30,000 naira minimum wage? And do you know that minimum wage that we're talking about, you have a housemaid in Nigeria, you should be paying your mate at least 30,000 naira. Do you pay your mate 30,000 naira in Nigeria? Is that not the meaning of minimum wage? Is that not the meaning of minimum wage? So we say government increase salary, increase minimum wage. Will you increase minimum wage of your hairdresser? Will you increase minimum wage of your driver? Because that is the true minimum wage. A lot of states in Nigeria can't afford it. They can't afford it. The 18,000 naira said they are struggling to pay. Nigeria doesn't have money. A lot of states have borrowed money and everything. Yes, it goes. That one is leadership and poor management, but we also have our own roles to play. We are Nigerians that are the ones that are chopping the money now. Let's stay facts here now. I just told you a corruption that was that they just brought up. I was this morning. I read it in one of the national dailies. Between 4 years, there's one contingency funds. I didn't even know that we even had something called some kind of contingency funds between the ministry, department, and agencies. In the last 4 years, they can account for about almost 4 trillion naira. They can account for about 4 trillion naira. They can account for it.
Word. All right, 5 minutes. We're going to take a quick questions break. Remember, if you're asking your questions on YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram, TikTok, you have to buy #1 gifter, or you have to buy a money gun. So if you buy a money gun, I would pull you up. You have to send super chats. Guys, you're listening on YouTube. Send your super chats. Send your super chats. Send your super chats.
Okay, sorry, somebody put a comment here. Ebere, happy birthday anyway. Today's Ebere's birthday. Was it yesterday? Happy birthday. Shout out to you.
Bless your day, Ebere.
So Bongolee eventually, Bongolee eventually, the ripple effect should lead to minimum wage increase if things follow economic model. Yes, that's true. Because by doing this also, you see that investors will be confident to come and invest in Nigeria. Because that fuel subsidy statement also that was made, a lot of people don't realize that you make those kind of statements to build confidence in foreign investors. And that was why in Nigerian stock markets, after Ashwaju made that statement, the stock market gained about 1.5 trillion naira. So stocks grew by 1.5 trillion naira. Our euro bond, our bonds, our dollar bonds, the price went up. So you are rejigging confidence and telling them that all of these bottleneck, because that is, imagine if you are doing a business and the federal government tells you that this is the cap, you can't sell more than this. How can your business thrive? Like I said, I am not insensitive, because it affects me also, to what will happen, the effect of transportation pricing, because we experience a lot of cost push inflation in Nigeria. Because once the price of gasoline goes up in Nigeria, everything goes up. In fact, some people are saying dollar is going down to the Naira. That's another conversation. We talk about that. It's been trending downwards in the last couple of days. When we get to the dollar conversation and Forex conversation, we've not talked about Dangote Refinery. So we still have Dangote Refinery and talk about the dollar thing also.
All right. So once again, 2 minutes. Bongolee, catch your breath, because we are going in hard. 2 minutes. Any questions? Questions? If you're watching on,
then we're gonna get water.
One guy.
I'll be back. Then we're gonna get water.
Listen to waiting one guy. How do I send super chats? If you're watching on YouTube, you will see. Let me show you how to send super chats on YouTube. A lot of people are there and don't know how to send super chats. Make no vex. Now how will I go take
1 minute?
Oh no problem, Bongolee. So in that 1 minute, we can sell the market. See, this is the video. Click on the video. At the bottom right-hand corner on Facebook, you will see a little dollar sign. Let me show you. In fact, let me put it here so I can show you. So Facebook, this is how, YouTube, this is how, can you see that right there? This little dollar sign here. That's it right there. That's it right there. That's the only way to do your super chats. So if you're watching on YouTube, at the bottom of the screen, where you see the comments, at the bottom of the screen, you will see a little dollar sign. That is how to, once you click on it, it will tell you send super chat, super stickers. Okay? So send your super chats and ask your questions. Thank you so much. Somebody says, I see this guy likes controversy. why he keeps bringing this bigot of a guy here, making him look like he's someone. Peachy Steak, you have been banned from this channel for the rest of your life. Bongolee is a bundle of intelligence, wisdom, and statistics. Why should I not bring him here simply because you don't like him or because he did not support your preferred candidate? Do not insult my guest. Thank you very much. So you've been bad, and whether you want to buy Super Chat next week or you want to buy, you can't even buy again because you've been removed. For the rest of you, you've got questions asked via Super Chat or Super Sticker. If you're watching on TikTok, remember it's Money Gun. Send me those money guns if you're having fun. And if you're watching on Facebook, go to Facebook, search for Daddy Freeze. Click on today's video. Scroll down in the video, bottom left-hand corner, you see how to buy my stars. So let's talk about Forex.
Okay.
Go ahead. You are done, Abby? Okay, I'll send you Uber. All right. So let's talk about Forex right now. We heard news that the dollar has been, what word we use, deregulated to the tune of 630 something Naira to a dollar. What does that mean, Bongolee? Let's start with that question. What does it mean?
Well, let me put this out there to everyone. Actually, the CBN has come out to debunk that statement and said that never happened. So I think it was poor journalism on the part of our media houses. So immediately I read that news, I knew where they got that
information. Sorry to interrupt you. There's something I've learned. In Nigeria, anything that starts as a rumor always ends up happening. It'll start as a rumor. Yeah.
Okay. I understand. That's why I want to get to the root cause. I understand what you are saying, because that freeze is going to eventually get there. That is the magic number. But that was a rumor. So I want to now tell you where that rumor emanated from. Now, so sometime last week, there's what is called the investors and exporters. There's what is called the investors and INE. It's called INE. And in that INE, that is where investors, FDIs, they trade dollar and Naira and all of that stuff. So sometime last week, a dollar trended, someone bought a dollar for as high as 631 or something like that. So that was reported in the news that it traded as high as that. And also, we've been having reparation of funds issues in our aviation sector. The Nigerian government, because of the low forex that we have not been able to reparate like dollars or forex to these airlines and all of that stuff. And that's part of the reason why we see that Nigeria pays about 200% more when it comes to the value of tickets in aviation. We pay for ticket prices, flight ticket, we pay like about 200%. So for them now, it has now been devalued to about 630. So for the aviation people, when they are trying to get their dollar and all of that stuff, now it's at 630. So that's at 630. The dollar was traded as high as 630 in the INE market. And then by doing that, today, they now want to bring the news because it's already in the air that the president, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, has said that we are going to collapse the multiple forex rates. The multiple forex rates. So by devaluing that, by collapsing it, it may go to that. So that is where that came from. It has not been signed or set on stone. And one thing that is going to happen that I can assure you is that the CBN is not not going to say this is the new rate of the dollar to Naira, because it's going to be flung open and let people trade. Now, we should not forget the black marketers. They are going to fight back. Because when this happens, you are going to take them out of business. And you think they're just going to fold their arms? They're very powerful. There are a lot of principalities and powers in Nigeria that will not make so many. We have the subsidy cabal. We have the Forex cabal. We have loads of cabals, my brothers and sisters, in different sectors of our economy and our institutions. So it is going to be very, very challenging to get these people out. But if we want our country to grow and develop, we need to find a way. We are going to step on toes. Okay, Daddy Freeze, for example, when the Dangote Refinery comes on board, we're still talking about the Forex thing, but we're going to talk about when the Dangote Refinery comes on board, for example. Importers of crude oil are going to go, their business are going to go down. Abi? There will be no need to import anymore. So what would they do? What would they do? They will fight.
Yes.
There will be sabotage. Because you still have it. And that is why they are cashing out now. Oil marketers also. Everybody's trying to cash out now. Because the day of reckoning has come. Dangote says that by July, they are going to get on stream. And a lot of moving parts. Because we spend about $23 billion annually in actually importing crude oil products. Imagine Nigerians not having to use $23 billion to import crude oil products. Imagine us having that enough $23 billion annually, and people can trade and go and import and do their educational tourism or healthcare tourism or whatever it is. So that $23 billion, Dangote coming in like this, $23 billion US dollars is not leaving our economy. So now, I think that answers that, Daddy Freeze. They have not, what's it called? They have not, the Naira has not been devalued yet.
Another problem we have in Nigeria is panic. So people are panic changing their dollars now, believing the dollar will go down. Do you think on the short term, the dollar will go down, or the Naira would rise, the dollar would drop against the Naira, or it will actually rise against the Naira? I'm thinking it will actually rise.
Now, Daddy Freeze, I want to push my own school of thought here, and people do not have to agree with my school of thought here. It's okay. It's open for debate.
Say something. I want to address somebody. Ugonna Ezeagu, I will remove you from my life. There is nothing Bongolee has said that will make you say he is the new Lai Mohammed. I see a lot of agitation from you that is baseless. He is sharing his opinion. He is sharing not just an opinion, but an informed opinion. If all you do is come to my live and discredit my guest, I will block you. You are treading on thin ice. This is your last warning. Bongolee, let me say it again. This is if Bongolee said something wrong or something controversial and you're attacking him for it, I would understand. He's explaining from his perspective, and I cannot fault what he's saying. I might not agree with him 100%. I might have my own opinions as well, but we are discussing. So this message is for Ugonna. Ugonna, you are a Peter Obi supporter. I know you very well. I think you should buy mattress or mat, whichever it is your budget can contain, and go and sleep outside the court. In fact, you should put your mat in front of the judge's house. So as the judge is waking up, it is you they will see, so that they can quickly bring Peter Obi in And then we can now have a different perspective with regards to governance. But I have not seen what Bongolee has said today that it is so controversial that you can now come and call him Lai Mohammed. So I've got a message for you, Ugonna. Rest. It helps. It will reduce your BP. Continue, Bongolee.
Oh, Daddy, please don't remove her. She's my sister. I always see her comments since the base clash of the supporters and all of that stuff. It's okay. She follows me. It's okay. Ogona, I love you. Regardless of all the awful things you have said to me, I love you. It's all, we are in the governance phase. All those times are gone. It's over. We have won, but Nigeria has won. We all won. We all are winners, okay? So let it go. It's fine. It's love. And it's love. My yellow sister, yellow papa, it's all love. So now, back to the conversation. I've missed the question. What question did Freeze ask me just now? The Naira going up and down stability. Now, I'm about to make a statement here. And please, go and carry your economist textbook and read what I'm about. Read and understand, because I know we all did economics in secondary school. With the statements I'm about to make here. Some of you may not like it. Some of you may understand it. Some of you may, I do not want a stronger Naira. I want a stable Naira. I repeat again. I do not want a stronger Naira.
What?
I want a stable Naira.
All right. Now, Bongolee, in order to agree with you, I need you to understand that a weak Naira is a huge advantage. The Japanese currency and the Chinese currency are actually stronger than the dollar, but they refuse to accept it. Do you know why? Because it is so much better to produce on a cheap currency and export to higher currencies. The reason why the Naira being 600 or 750 Naira to a dollar, the reason why it is a disadvantage to us is because we don't produce anything. So our cars are brought from abroad. Our shoes are brought from abroad. Everything. So because we are importing, we are earning a cheap Naira and importing a heavy and expensive dollar, it is affecting us negatively. Let's imagine.
Daddy Freeze, let me pause you there. Daddy Freeze, you have said it all. Do you know, in fact, I want to just turn off this live and go and sleep. I'm just kidding. But Daddy Freeze, you understand the economics. The problem here is, we as Nigerians, we have been programmed to always think in a consumption way, or consumption way. Pardon my English, not a production way. And that is why I said I want a stable Naira. I don't want a stronger Naira. Because if you make our Naira stronger, for example, it is going to be more expensive to export. People don't want to come and export. People don't want to come and buy. Because now they say, okay, what we buy in Nigeria for $10, now we have to spend $20 to buy it. All these matrices work if we are a production nation. That thing that you are talking about is that the Chinese do, because the Chinese yuan to the dollar, I think it's 7 Chinese yuan to a dollar right now. So I think it's 7. The Chinese do that a lot. They don't want to adjust their currency like true value. So what do? They do that so that when the dollar comes in, it becomes a lot more, and so they because the investors will bring dollar in, so they can achieve a lot more in production. And also, when they say you can't compete with China, you can't compete with China for now, but it's going to move to India anyway. All of these things are moving to India anyway, because Chinese population, they are reducing and all of that stuff. They are getting older and stuff, and their minimum wage is going up now because they are more educated. That's a different conversation entirely. A different conversation entirely. It's like a full day conversation on what's going on in China and India. And I pray to God that what is going on in China, as it's going into India, by God's grace, it should come to Nigeria. Because in Nigeria, about 70% of Nigerians are under the age of 18. I think 18 or 21. 70% of Nigerians are under the age of 18. So we have a very young population. We have a very, very, very young population in Nigeria. And we need those investors to come. We have the population. Please, investors, if you are watching us, please, we need people to bring your foreign direct investments in. We'll make sure that the dollar is stable. We'll make sure dollar is stable. Please, investors, we need you to come to Nigeria. We have the young population to work. Our minimum wage is very competitive as compared to what you are paying in China and what you are paying in 25 years. Thank you. 25 years. And what you are paying in China. Thanks for the correction. 25. What you are paying in China and what you are paying in India. Please come. I think it's 70% are under 25 or something. Not 18. Thanks for the correction. I think it's under 25. But we have a very young population in Nigeria. So I think under 18 years is about 50%. So back to what I was saying, Daddy Freeze. You've answered it all. I just wish that a lot of us begin to think, because what happens is that if you say you want the Naira to be stronger, ask the people that say they want the Naira to be stronger. Why do you want the Naira to be stronger? They'll tell you so that we can import. We can import. Daddy Freeze, you can, okay.
Continue.
Ask anybody why do you want the Naira to be stronger? They say because I want to pay school fees. I want to travel. I want to pay school fees abroad. I want to travel abroad. I want to go and buy Gucci. I want to buy luxury items. Because Nigeria spends a lot of money on luxury in the world. Do you know how much we spend on importing champagne and the liquor, foreign liquor and all of that stuff? We spend about $300 million annually. We spend about $300 million annually. So we like to is importation. And that is why, they talk about Agbado, corn nation and everything. A lot of people don't know that you make ethanol from corn. So when the president was talking about Agbado the other time, he's looking at how can we increase the production of Agbado, of corn, so that we can start getting extras from it and make ethanol. And that ethanol is a base material for liquor. Because when that happens, you start seeing distilleries springing up. More distilleries springing up in Nigeria. These things, you cannot just sleep like this and wake up tomorrow and all these things happen. It takes years. It can even be 15 to 20 years that this thing will take for all these things to really and truly materialize. But we have to start from somewhere. We have to start from somewhere. So, I like that economics that Daddy Freeze you talked about, and I want people to start thinking of, okay, we want because a stable Naira also gives the investors confidence. Because when the investor comes in and you are coming in and the dollar is 400 and something Naira, then tomorrow they say 600 and something Naira. I've lost about 50% of my investments. So that means for me to recoup that my $1 back, I have to go and give the Nigerian government 50% more of the Naira. So that's why I said I want stable. I don't want a weaker Naira. I don't want a stronger Naira. I just want a stable Naira. So now, let me now transcend to another conversation, because I know you still have, but let me transcend to that. Daddy Freeze, a lot of Nigerians have become billionaires overnight because of what is called round tripping, currency round tripping.
Subsidy, that's one of the organized crimes of subsidy. Can you hear me? Continue.
Okay. So that, what's it called? That round tripping. So guys, imagine you as a businessman, you go to the CBN and go and collect $1 million US. And that $1 million US that you collected, you go and sell it at 750 Naira in the black market. And you paid 400 and something, 450 to get it on the CBN. That is 300 million Naira difference. That is called round tripping. And that is how we have been shortchanging the Nigerian government. Because say you want to return that money back, you still go and give Nigerian government at the 450 rates that you went to collect the money from, borrow it from. But you have already made 700 and you've already made like 300 because you went to sell it in the market at 750 Naira to $1. Yes, currency round tripping. We also have currency speculation. Where right now in this life, that if I was influential, I don't get I'm not an influential person, but if I were to be influential, for example, on your life, I can say the dollar is selling at 900. People will start selling at 900. That is currency speculation, but that is not the true price of the dollar. That's not the true price of the dollar. So that currency round tripping is going to stop because it's going to be uniform. But guys, there is going to be a big fight coming. The black market cabals, they will fight back. These guys are the powers that be. Because if they unionize the Forex, like there's no more black market, you go to the bank, you can afford it. Oh, we have insider trading. There's so many things going there. There's so many things going on with this Naira. Like once the federal government can say, you know what, we are uniforming the rates. There's a lot that people have been doing. And that's why the current governor of the CBN was having issues last year. He had a lot of issues because the federal reps, and the senators were saying, these guys are making people billionaires overnight. It's just to give the person, this is it that it frees. You carry 450 million Naira and take it to CBN. CBN will give you $1 million. The $1 million, you take it to the market and go and sell it at 750 Naira black market. You've made 300 million Naira already now. Just waking up. And then if you did business or whatever, if you want to pay back the Nigerian government, you pay them back at 450. So federal government is not collecting that 300 million. So you are cheating the federal government. You are shortchanging them by 75%. So federal government is losing 75% revenue when it comes to this Forex. Easy. So when they talk about the current president knowing how to raise revenue, these are the loopholes that is going to block. And you need an affirmative leader. And the NLC person said it actually, that is not business as usual. When we go and negotiate, once we shakara them like this, we are going to strike, we are going to this, we are going to that, they bulge. He said this time they said they didn't get that in the room. He said like this ones, they are not bulging at all. These ones, they are not batting an eyelid. This one, I read that they are not hearing anything. This one, and another advice to people is that, what's it called? I've forgotten my chain of thought. But, well, that explains the currency thing. Multiple exchange rates are going to go away. It is good for our economy because we need foreign direct investments. We need foreign portfolio investments. Because we don't have enough Forex. The crude oil that we sell gives us about 80% of the Forex we have in Nigeria. Forex meaning foreign exchange, foreign currencies. Crude oil itself gives us about 50% of our revenue. And crude oil actually accounts for about 75% of our exports. So imagine if crude oil prices drop. Where will we even get revenue from? Where will we even get Forex from? And we are already shortchanging ourselves from a Forex standpoint. Because the ways you get Forex into a country, firstly, is through exports. When you export, they pay you in dollars. The second one is foreign direct investment. That is investors coming directly. Hey, I want to come and invest $10 million in this country. The third one is foreign portfolio investment. That one is they want to come and buy securities. When I mean securities, that is bonds, stocks, equities, and all of that. The fourth one is the $1 that I sent from diaspora to Nigeria. The diaspora remittance. That one we are sending about $20 billion annually, and that $20 billion annually that we in the diaspora are sending, that is official, that CBN can account for. Because I can assure you that money is like between 30 to 40 billion. Because they are, when people are traveling, Daddy Freeze, Teban lost in Nigeria, $1,000. That's not in CBN. Sorry, in English, it means as I'm traveling, Daddy Freeze, take this $1,000, give this other person. It's not documented in CBN. So Nigerians are actually remitting even more money from the diaspora. And last but not least, are grants. That's where we can get Forex. So for example, removal of this subsidy already is saying 23 billion, 20 to 25 billion dollars. We're not going to spend that on importation. That Dangote refinery alone, we're going to get to refinery. That one, I will break people's hearts. Now, if I'll break your heart in that Dangote refinery. Because I'm going to talk about the good things of the refinery, and I'm going to say some controversial comments on that. So, yeah, there's some controversy there. So you look at all of those things, and that's how you get Forex. So that 20 to 25 billion dollars that we spend on importing itself, that's a huge relief on Nigeria's economy. I'm not going to get to the why is Nigeria not investing in our refineries, because we have 4 refineries. We have in Kaduna, we have in Warri, I think in Delta State, I think we have 2 in Rivers State, the old Port Harcourt refinery and the new Port Harcourt refinery. And there are a lot of issues with that. I think I saw in one of the dailies, they said we've spent about 13 trillion naira or something like that in 10 years or something like that on those refineries. And was it like 2 years or 3 years ago, they said we're not producing anything. Because contrary to public opinion that refers, those refineries run, but they are not running up to capacity. And a lot of products that we see in our markets, they are from those refineries, so they won't tell anybody that. And we have what they call fire in the delta. That is Delta, meaning Bayelsa, Delta states, and River states. We have fire. Because fire, actually, the diesel that comes out of fire is of a better quality than the diesel that Nigeria imports from Belgium, from Spain, and from the Netherlands. Nigeria imports one of the, if not the worst petroleum products in the world. This petroleum products,
man's car, we will tell you for free. The octane level, that's why Range Rovers, Mercedes-Benz, and BMWs knock in Nigeria. Simply because of the bad fuel. We have let me show you something. I'll show you guys something, yeah.
Oh yeah, we import.
I see this carton. Can you see what it is full of? Oops. Hey, everything don't pour. Liquid moly octane booster. I have each bottle cost 8,000 naira. I used to have a whole carton. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, and 6 left. For me to be able to drive a 2022 GLE AMG 53, I have to pop one every time I fill my tank, I must pop one. So you people where they buy fuel for what they call them? You they buy fuel for you they complain. We they buy the fuel, then whatever we buy the fuel, we cannot just use any local one though. It's either liquid moly or there's another one. There's another product apart from liquid moly. Motul. Apart from liquid moly or motul, you can use any other additive. That's why people burns, they knock. If you are living here, you are advised not to rev your performance engine beyond 6,000 rotations RPM per minute. So all of you are going to mash your motor. One day, the motor going to do it don't start. Why? Because of how horrible the octane level of our petrol is.
Now, Daddy Freeze, somebody made a comment here, and well, that person is inconsequential. We all know the person here creating a nuisance here. So that person is inconsequential. You see, when you don't relax and listen to what Bongolee is saying, you just jump. When I say we are importing one of the lowest quality, I'm talking of sulfur content. I've not even talked about grade.
Sulfur content and octane level.
Hey, Daddy Freeze, no, that one is great. I've not gotten there yet. That one, there's plenty talk there. I'm talking about sulfur content because with the sulfur content, the ppm sulfur that is in there, it cannot qualify in Europe, but they import it from Europe and come and sell here. So that in itself reduces the performance of what's it called? Reduces the performance of the engine, and that also causes a lot of environmental pollution. That causes a lot of environmental pollution in itself because of the kind of gases it releases. H2S, you have incomplete combustion. Yeah. I don't want to start going into the physics and the chemistry and all of that stuff. Yes. Yeah, because that is when you talk about the air to fuel ratio. We are talking that's air to fuel ratio because normally for PMS is 14.7 to 1. And so what happens is that you don't want to have too much excess air, because if you have too much excess air, then you begin to burn and begin to produce nitrogen oxides and sulfur oxides and carbon monoxides and all of that stuff. Now that refers what you are now even talking about now, that one is about like people that buy gas in the Western world, for example, you see different grades. Now you see that octane rating. In the US, for example, you see 87, 91, and 93. Now, if you go and look at your gas tank, if you open it, you see recommended grade. You see, if you buy it from America, you see 91, 80 something. It depends. So what happens is that when you get this particular PMS, you do what is called blending. So that if you are doing a little bit of blending, so you are adding what is called alkylates. Those alkylates are what begins to increase that octane rating. You add those alkylates in there, so it improves the octane, so it is better. Now, then there are some that even add ethanol.
Sorry, John has raised a very valid point. Sulfur content is not in PMS, but rather in crude oil. That is why America has so much crude oil, but their crude oil is of a very substandard quality. So what
that is with all due respect, I will not address such question from such an individual.
Okay, so no problem.
Apologies to everyone.
Let me raise it myself because it is
okay. If you now ask the question, yes, but if you put that person's name, you know, it's no. Okay. Just so you can ask the question, rephrase it yourself.
So as not to be controversial.
Yes, sir.
There is no sulfur in PMS, but there's sulfur in crude oil. And the sulfur quantity in crude oil is what dictates the quality of the crude oil. But once they've
okay, no, so Daddy Freeze, so this is it here. You have what you call sweet crude and sour crude. Nigeria produces
is sweet.
Yes, Nigeria produces the three major types of crude. We have Kwaibue, we have brass, and we have Bonny Light. So Bonny Light is the one that we sell. That one is almost the same price with Brent crude. Our crude is sweet crude. So we have less sulfur contents. That is in ppm. It's called parts per million. So when you go and refine it, you will still have traces of sulfur in there in ppm. So that is what you regulate. So in diesel, for example, and I want everyone, if you have Google by you, if you have Google right here, there is an article on Guardian, guardian.co.uk. Type Nigeria dirty crude, Guardian UK. You will read that article and you will see who is lying and who is saying the truth. Guardian is Guardian UK. Just type Guardian UK, Nigeria diesel. Just put it there. Because Daddy Freeze, what I'm talking about here is what you call is regulations here. Regulations here. And you have the different ppms. You must not go past this amount of ppm. So I think in that article, it says diesel alone, Nigeria has 206 times more than the sulfur what's it called requirements. And I think in gasoline PMS, I think it's 150 or more. I want people to go on that right now. And if you can even check it, the Google thing.
Okay.
Guardian UK, Nigeria, dirty crude, dirty importation, whatever it is. You will see these things that I've said here. So the sulfur in itself is going to come into your product and it's going to burn because it's more. The sulfur content is more. And then the sulfur comes in contact with oxygen and you make SO2. Sulfur 4 oxide. This is basic chemistry, man. Now, if are you checking it, you see it.
There's an article in the Punch that says expose and punish importers of dirty fuel. Now let me read it.
No, Daddy Freeze, I want to. No, please, Daddy Freeze, I don't know. Read the Guardian UK. Guardian UK, dirty, dirty is it diesel or bad diesel? Guardian UK. There's an article.
Okay, petrol sold to Nigerians from Europe is dirtier than black market bush fuel. That's from the
black market bush fuel. That is coal fire. Black market push, that is the profile I was talking about. I think you can read it. You can just go there and just see the
refinery in Niger Delta found to be of higher quality than imported petrol in new analysis. Black market fuel made from stolen oil in rudimentary bush refineries, hidden deep in the creeks and swamps of the Niger Delta, is less polluting than the highly toxic diesel and petrol that Europe companies export to Nigeria. Shell, Exxon, Chevron, and other major oil companies extract and export up to 2 million barrels a day of high-quality, low-sulfur, Bonny Light crude from Nigeria diesel, from the Niger Delta. But very little of this oil is refined in the country because its 4 state-owned refineries are dysfunctional. Instead, international dealers export to Nigeria around 900,000 tons a year of low-grade dirty fuel made in Dutch, Belgian, and other European refineries, and hundreds of small-scale artisanal refineries producing large quantities of illegal fuel from oil stolen from the network of oil pipelines that crisscross the Niger Delta. The result, says international resource watchdog stakeholder group, Democracy Network, in a new report, is that Nigeria has some of the worst air pollution in the world, with dense clouds of choking soot hanging over gridlock cities, leading to a rise in serious health conditions as well as damaged vehicles. I'm going to jump to the laboratory analysis. Showed that the black market fuel was highly polluting, but of a higher quality than imported diesel and gasoline. The average unofficial diesel tested the level of EU sulfur standards 172 times and 40 times for the level of gasoline. So I think Bongolee is right.
That if you go down in that article, it talks about diesel, the 200, the 150 that I was talking about, 150 times. I said parts per million. Have you people heard it now? That you can go down, you read it. Do you expect me to come out and be shouting and be screaming like a RABIDDOG and be shouting? That's not education. Knowledge is power. You read, you learn. I studied refinery. I took a refinery class in my master's degree program here in what's it called? In America here. I did refinery. I worked in a refinery. I'm a manufacturer, I'm a senior production manufacturing engineer, man. This is what I do every day of my life. Are you kidding me? And I'm telling you something. I said there's no sulfur in PMS. I'm telling you that there is sulfur PPN. That's the one that we import in Nigeria because it's sour crude that they refine over there. And then when they because you have limits. If that the freeze reach this thing even further, it says that our sulfur content in our diesel is 150 times more. That if it's just ready now, the sulfur content in gasoline is 72 times and 40 times more than the standard. Is that not what I'm saying? And I said that this thing causes a lot of health issues. I talked about health issues for sulfur content, and I talked about performance as regards octane ratings and higher octane ratings and all that for performance in engines. So what did I say that is wrong? When people just want to come and just want to be negative and all of that stuff, I don't pay such people energy. They've been talking for, is it almost a year? They've been challenging me to pay attention to them.
Let me try to resolve this.
So,
does petrol contain sulfur?
That if we should just read it there now. Should we just read it there? These things have PPM.
Let's put PMS.
Of course not.
Sorry. What name do you PMS is not coming up?
No, that is so no. You just read an article. You don't need to ask Google anymore. He just told you there in that Guardian.co.uk article, and says that the sulfur content that is being imported in Nigeria in our PMS, premium motor spirit, and in our diesel is 72 times higher than that in Europe, which is unacceptable.
Right. Sulfur compounds in fuel such as gasoline and diesel create air pollution when the fuel is burned. So,
see, let me tell you something, because they call me DJ Bongolee, because I'm DJ Bongolee. Well, I won't say anything. When we're talking about the refinery, where were we now at the freeze? Where were we?
So, you are correct on this particular regard.
I've told that if it's anytime I come to your program, and if I say anything that is wrong, I will never come on your program. If I intentionally say anything that is wrong, you never see me on your program.
Okay. So well done and well expressed.
that if we will not talk about the Dangote refinery, because I have concerns with the Dangote refinery. So guys, you see, they'll come and tell you, and this is no way trying to demarket real estate and everybody there. They'll come and tell you that the refinery is there and all of that stuff. Come and buy land and this and this and that and that. Think twice before buying property around the refinery.
Why?
Because of the environmental pollution. Because of the water content. Now, there was a study that was done in the University of Texas Medical Branch, UTMB, and I think it was on the Journal of Cancer Studies. And they said that cancer, they said that you have to live further than 30 miles. You have to live at least 30 miles away from a refinery.
Do you know where I live is not up to 30 miles from the refinery? Or barely.
In Nigeria, we use kilometers. You know, in Nigeria, we use kilometers. So 1 mile is 1.66 kilometers. So that is 30 is 49 points. So I'll just say 50 kilometers. I'll just say 50 kilometers. So you have to live 50 kilometers away from the refinery based on that study. So now, that is where, but then, people live maybe 1 mile from or 2 kilometers from the refinery. Because why they are saying is because when you refine, there's what is called BTEX, benzene, toluene, ethyl benzene, and xylene. You see those things here, they are strong carcinogens that are released. If they are not properly burnt, if they are not properly scrubbed out and burnt in the flare. And that is why we need to have strong institutions. Like I'm bringing this to the attention of the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, LASEPA. I'm bringing this to the attention of the Ministry of Environment. I'm bringing this to all of them. Like, what kind of regulations are in place? What kind of recommendations are in place to tell people, okay, you cannot live 5 kilometers away. You cannot live 10 kilometers away. Or 10 kilometers from the refinery and all of that stuff. Someone said benzene. Benzene is a strong carcinogen. You don't want to mess with it. So there are studies that can be done because aside me being a chemical engineer, blah, 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 I'm also a process safety expert. So like studies that you perform and do calculations you make, simulations that you do, because you also have what's called vapor cloud explosion. Sorry, vapor cloud explode, whatever it is. This one said this guy can lie. Oba Frank, I know I can lie, but please, I beg you, just Google search all these things I'm saying.
Oba
it's
Frank,
not for my good, but for your own good.
Oba Frank,
no, me, I know.
Up. Hey, Bongolee.
No, me, I know.
Hey, wait. Oba Frank, shut up. Get out. Bongolee, continue.
Yeah, no, it's for his own good. You know, it's for his own good.
Keep quiet.
So,
doesn't know anything. You can lie. So, listen, those are the kind of people that are the most annoying people on earth. At least John came and dropped a different perspective. You can't just go somewhere, it's a lie. How can you say somebody can lie? And everything he has been saying has been backed up both in The Guardian, both on my own personal Google search. Oba Frank, why will you put in the king in front of your name? Oba means king. Who put a crown on such a clown? Watch yourself, I've warned you. Bongolee, continue.
So you know, all through the conversation, I have been talking about the benefits of the refinery, how it will affect us socioeconomically, but it would be very unfair of me not to talk about the health challenges that comes with the refinery, that comes with manufacturing. Because if you look at the crude oil has over 140 to 150 different materials that can come out of a crude oil. When you say a barrel of crude oil, about 45% of that is gasoline. That is PMS. 20% is about diesel. And then you start breaking lubricating oils. So that's why I'm saying that with the Dangote Refinery coming on board, will not be in like $23 billion of importing all of these things. Those things are going away. But it will be unfair of me to talk about all of this and not even asphalt that we use on the road. Because Dangote Refinery actually is one of the most complex refineries in the world. Actually, one of, if not the most complex refinery in the world. So he has a coking unit there. So that means he's going to be able to make asphalt. And we use asphalt for our roads. So we don't need to be importing that. But it will be very, very unfair of me if I don't talk about the environmental impact. I trust that they must have done a very good environmental impact analysis there. But we have to talk about the environmental aspect because a lot of people are being swayed. If you tell me, hey, buy land close to refinery, fine. But if you say buy land is close to refinery, the value the value will go up and blah, 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 blah. Come on now. But do you know the health hazards that is tied to it? Then what about the water? Already on the island, we have brackish water in the aquifer. Because remember, a lot of the islands, in the island, they are reclaimed land from the water. And the water is brackish there already. So you're going to make what's it called wastewater. The wastewater, where is the wastewater going to go to? Some is going to seep into the ground, and some is going to go in the river and all of that stuff. So the water quality, what kind of water quality that's going to find its way into the aquifer? Those are my issues. The air, because already in Nigeria, a lot of us don't. Nigeria has one of the most polluted air in the world. When we talk about polluted air and all of that stuff. In fact, let me deviate a little bit. Not deviate per se. When we talk about air pollution, that is particulate matter, air pollution. We have Aba, Onitsha. I think Umuahia, Kaduna. These places are ranked the highest when it comes to particulate matter pollution. That is, you can check this on CNN. There's a CNN article on it. Particulate matter pollution. That is, I want you to read it to people. Particulate matter pollution. It was an article that came out in 2014. Oh yes, China air. That's China. No, I said particulate matter. We are talking about air pollution here. Particulate matter. You also have air, like you have like the gases and all of that stuff, CO and SO2 and all of that. So that one is different. China's air is very popular. We know we have fire also, soot coming from River State also. That also adds to that kind of pollution. Have you seen it, Daddy Freeze?
Tell me again, particulate matter pollution?
Nigeria, CNN. Type particulate matter pollution, Nigeria, CNN. Something will come out.
Nigeria is home to a city with worst PM10 levels.
Yes, that's it.
Onitsha. Few outside will have heard of. Okay. Onitsha has the worst PM10 levels in the world. What? Where is Onitsha?
Yes.
Anambra State.
Yes. Onitsha is times, I think 30 times. 30 times the PM level. 30 times. You see, because we are not in electioneering or all those things. That's why we don't talk about these things. And that was done in 2014. That was done in 2014. And somebody was, somebody was governor 2006 to 2014. I think the article was done in 2014 or 2016. Something like that.
2016.
2016, 2016, so you can calculate it. Somebody was governor for 8 years, so, and they've been doing that for long. It's not just Onitsha. You have Aba. You have Aba, I think maybe Umaya and Oka, and you have Kaduna.
And Kaduna.
Now.
But why is it
so these are
so populated? Generally,
so what did you say?
Use out noxious fumes.
So that if you see that those fumes there, because of the incomplete combustion, that's where the sulfur comes in. Remember, I was talking about sulfur. We're talking about carbon monoxide. We're talking about nitrogen oxide. So these are all of the issues. So, but with that particular, with the refinery, I think that, and with the new manufacturing, because the Ashwaju administration based their campaign on industrialization.
Have you seen it?
So I think that if they base their campaign on industrialization, they have to ensure that the institutions, like the environmental protection agencies, the ministries, are very, very strong. Like the regulations are very strong and very tight, watertight. Because Nigeria already, our life expectancy is at 54 years. So in Nigeria, if you are above 54 years, you can go to your creator or go to the creator. You have done well as a Nigerian. 54 years. That is our, what's it called? Our life expectancy. And we are seeing a rise in a lot of these different health issues. And now we are going to be seeing a lot of industrialization going on. With that comes a lot of these, what's it called, health issues. So people living around the refinery, please go and do your regular medical checkups. Ensure that if there is your water purification system in your estates, ensure that you begin to ensure that they are up to par. If you have to put more filters, if you have to put more filters there, please put more filters. Please know the difference between environmental pollution and air pollution. Air pollution is under environmental pollution now. What are you talking about, Saoma? Air is under, there's water pollution, air pollution, that is under environmental pollution now. Daddy Freeze, I'm really bringing my tongue not to even throw jabs at anybody, but at times we need to question our educational system in Nigeria. With the kind of questions that people ask or the kind of comments that people make. If you don't know something, before you put something on the chat, please, I beg you, Google search first. Ask yourself, this thing I'm about to type, I'm about to post, does it make any sense to me? Does it make any sense to me? Do I understand? Do I understand what Bongolee is talking about? Do I understand what Dalfi is talking about? Do I understand what this economist is talking about on TV? Let me Google search. There's land pollution, many types of pollution. That is under environmental, Ministry of Environment, Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, LASEPA. I did IT in LASEPA. When I was in Unilag, I did 1 year IT in LASEPA. So that the fees at the end of the day, those institutions need to be very strong. Can they not ask questions? Kaji, General. No, the kind of questions they have been asking. Kaji. Oh, so someone said, Bongolee, please, more information about Onitsha. What's the cost? See, if I begin to talk about Onitsha now, people will start looking at me with the lens of electioneering. Would you promise me that you not look at me with that lens before I answer that question?
All right, so we can move on.
Okay. Now, when it comes to Onitsha, for example, I do not know how strong their waste disposal system. You know, like in Lagos, we have LOMA, Waste Management, Lagos Waste Management Agency. I don't know how strong it is. Because many of those things are caused by inadequate or inefficient waste management. Also, the kind of fuel that is being used to cook food, just burning things everywhere, indiscriminate disposal per se. So those things are not managed and all of that stuff. So Those are the major things. Generator fumes, for example, because if we have better electricity service, less people will use gas to gasoline, PMS, to power their what's it called, their generators. Also, the kind of cars we drive, because there's a lot of incomplete combustion. So you are releasing a lot of bad fumes in the air. Also, so you burn waste. So by burning waste, what kind of fiber and all of that are people inhaling? Because I can assure you that if they do some critical studies in that area, they will tell you that the common cause of deneutralization may be due to the kind of air that we breathe. Because the kind of air that we breathe in Nigeria, for example, Lagos, Lagos is densely populated. Trust me, it's bad. I think they said 94% of the air that we breathe in Nigeria is bad, or 94% of people. The stats is here, 94% of the air in Nigeria is bad, pretty much. That's all I want to say on that. 94% of the air we breathe is bad. Only 6% is good, or 6% people have good air. They are breathing in good air in Nigeria. 94% bad, because our institutions are not strong. Our institutions are not strong. They have to be strong enough to hold these people to accountability. Hold them accountable. Do the right studies. Do the right studies. Let these people that are running this land spend money and put the right safety measures in place. Because we cannot say that we want to industrialize and we are just doing it in reckless abandon, thereby killing us. Because what happens is that we start spending more money on healthcare. So those are the issues. I don't know if people have more questions, because we talked about Dangote Refinery, we talked about Forex, and we talked about fuel subsidy. So I don't know if anyone has more questions. I'm on vacation, so I have time. I'm on vacation, so I have time. I have time for now. Next week, people will not see me around. I'm back to serious mood. So I'm on vacation, I have time.
Okay. I'm going to open up the lines for questioning, and then we will just round off more or less. I think we have tried. It's not like the Kuku appreciate it. They've been fighting us since morning.
Freeze, it's okay. We need people to fight, because to have a very good democracy, we need critics. And that's why I always enjoy Femi. If you notice that, Freeze, anytime I'm doing it, anytime I try to do a live, I always like to bring Femi. Because Femi has a complete opposite opinion. But we are very respectful to ourselves. We respect ourselves. So, but he comes in, he gives his own idea and all of that stuff. And then we, go back and forth, and it's all respect. So Femi, you can bring Femi on. Femi I've been seeing his comments. He's my political ENEMY. And maybe anyone else that asks questions on all of these things, because Femina is going to ask me political related questions. That please bring Femi. Please bring Femi on, I beg you. Now, my guy, I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him since after inauguration. I mean, before. I haven't spoken to him. Me and Femi they talk to.
And then
me and Femi they talk to offline. No, me and Femi they talk offline. No, so I'm just trying to tell you people that you see online, okay, political whatever, bashing them. So these politicians you see bashing themselves online, they are friends offline. No, they are friends offline. No, you deceiving yourself. They be fighting for somebody.
Right? I've sent Femi an invite.
Femi, come online now. Don't be scared now. Come on now. Shebi, they say your principal yesterday went to brought documents. Is that Femi? Yes, Femi. Is that Femi? Hey, man, my enemy, my political enemy.
You started your life today again.
My political enemy.
I listened to your chemistry class actually.
All right, Femi.
Femi, I can't hear the network.
Our batteries are about to die.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Femi is blurry.
Hi, Femi, can you hear us?
Femi. Then I bring someone else.
Bongolee, what are your thoughts?
Okay. Well, fellow Nigerians, on a more very serious note, elections have come and gone. Now it's time for governance. The current president that we have, pending whatever the court ruling says, is a president for all. And this is a rallying cry and a rallying call. Let us all be patriots. You can be patriotic in your criticism, but let your criticism be constructive. Because there's something that I want you all to take with you guys today. Always listen to your enemies, because your enemies will tell you things you don't see about yourself. But in this kind of climb, let it be constructive. You are not seeing it in this angle, you're not seeing it in that angle. Let us sit down, let us talk. 2027 is almost here anyway. You can come and bring whatever you want to bring. But at the end of the day, all of these key points that we've talked about today, I want you all to do a deep soul searching and do some researches by yourself. Do we still want to keep on paying fuel subsidy? Should the government have taken 50% out of it, or 25%, and slowly take it out? Or should they have said, you know what, let's just take everything out completely? Because in all of the previous governments, they always say we'll take 20%, 10% here. And prices are going up every day. And nothing seems to have changed. So maybe this is a different strategy. Like, you know what, we are taking it out. We Nigerians are very stubborn. We are very difficult to deal with. Oh, Femi said he's back. Oh, please bring Femi.
Continue what you're saying. Network is very hard. I'm even struggling.
Okay. So as regards fuel subsidy, guys, let us look at the benefits of fuel subsidy. Pains, no pain, no gain. The countries that we live in and compare Nigeria to, they went through these hard phases. In fact, the China that we talk about, China went through famine, I think in the 50s or 60s or something
between
like that.
1958 and 1962. The great
50s and 60s, they went through one-child policy in the 70s. The kind of government that they have in China, can we have that type of government in China to achieve that? We can't have it. It's a communist society. And if you thief money na hanging, if you thief $1 na hanging, can we do that in Nigeria? So let's look at the benefits of the fuel subsidy. Now, we talked about Forex. Let us look at the benefits. The government doesn't have to be subsidizing Forex anymore. Let it trade so that it can bring foreign investors in. Guys, we talk about jobs and jobs and jobs and jobs. Federal government don't create jobs. State government don't create jobs. It is foreign investors or local investors that create jobs. All the government is supposed to do is to create an enabling environment. An enabling environment for these investors to come in, both local and international investors. So when you don't have that currency, when you take out that currency caps and all of that stuff, you see things begin to align. Some things will go up, some things will go down. But the market forces of demand and supply will fix it. People are even talking about what of insecurity. Actions like this can fight insecurity, because insecurity emanates from, many a times, crime emanates from not having jobs, unemployment. So when you have a lot of game players in there, like the Dangote Refinery, for example, is going to create at least 200,000 jobs, 200,000 jobs, directly and indirectly. Employed, people are going to be selling lube oil. People are going to be selling diesel in a retail, people are going to package it. Now, guys, as regards the refinery, it is a blessing for Nigeria. I know that with the Dangote Refinery, Nigeria itself will not be spending about 20 to 25 billion US dollars on importing petroleum products. So, guys, let us give this government a chance. And someone talked about agric farming also. Yes, today is not the day for that. We can talk about that another time. But let us give this government a chance. They've not even spent up to 3 days. Maybe this is day 3 or day 4. Good things don't come easy. Rome was not built in a day. All of these things that were done, that are being done now, you might reap the benefit maybe 10, 15 years. Look at the Lekki Free Trade Zone, for example. That was envisioned by Asiwaju in 2006 or 2005 or something like that. When did it come on board? 2022, 17 years later. And now refinery is coming up there, refinery. But this is a vision that started in 2003, 2004, 2005. So it took about almost 20 years. Rome was not built in a day, guys. I understand the pains because we, the diaspora, also understand the pains and feel the pains of Nigeria because billing. I know one of my sister here, General Kaji here, for example, I saw in her post, shout out to General Kaji. She said she's scared of checking her mailbox. She can't check her DM, it's billing. I can't put my DM, it's billing. So we send money home to Nigeria, over $25 billion annually. So we also have a say, we feel the pains. Guys, let's give this government a chance. Let us not do all or nothing because maybe some of our guys did not get into power. Let's let it go. And we restart again. We restart again in what's it called? In 2027 again. If this government didn't do well, vote the government out. Bring someone else again to try. We all just want a better Nigeria. Thank you very much, Daddy Freeze, for your platform. Thank you very much to all of the viewers, both the people that yabbed me and otherwise. I still love you all. I don't yab people. I still love you all because we all want a better Nigeria, but we'll just see things from different angles. But for that better Nigeria, you also have to be better citizens also. Be better people. Stop collecting bribe. Stop stealing money. Do the right things. Be honest. Don't oppress another person. Don't exploit other people. Love one another. What happened a few days ago because of this oil, this subsidy, whatever, if we really love ourselves, that should not be happening. And we won't change. If we don't change, there's nothing the government can do. Federal government will just try. State government will just try. Local government will just try. But if we as individuals don't change, Nigeria can never change. Thank you and God bless.
Thanks. 100% DJ Bongolee. 150% DJ Bongolee. Thank you so much
Thank you,
for joining. Thank you for everything that you've done. Thank you for sharing your wealth of wisdom, and thank you for everything. Guys, it's been wonderful hanging out with DJ Bongolee. I'll be back in like 30 minutes. And then we're going to have a softer gist session. We go gist. For make everybody just relax. It's been
I know they did that. Femi, don't worry. I'm turning on my life now. Femi, come. Nigeria Lebanese, come. I have your time, 10 minutes.
God bless you, Bongolee. Thank you for the